Red Skull has a xenomorph army, and it's nuts. What's up everyone, James here, and I bring you Alien vs. Captain America, which is absolutely incredible. After reading this first issue, I knew I had to cover it. Let's get into it. But before we do, make sure you hit that like button. So this opens in 1944 during World War II. So this isn't taking place in the main Marvel universe. It's essentially a what if, elseworld, alternate reality, whatever term you would like to use. Anyways, at Castle Strucker, Captain America, Steve Rogers, and his sidekick Bucky Barnes are ambushing and dominating the Hydra troops stationed here. Captain America interrogates one of the Hydra troops here and demands to know where Baron von Strucker is because he's received intel that he's on a covert mission for the Red Skull. So Baron von Strucker is the Red Skull's top lieutenant in Hydra and his right-hand man. So Red Skull sending someone of that status on a secret mission has Captain America understandably worried. The Hydra troop responds only with Hydra's creed: cut off one head and another will grow. He then bites down on a false tooth concealing a red capsule, which unleashes this chemical that Captain America calls Red Skull's red dust. It burns away the Hydra troop's face, killing him instantly. Though the Hydra troop didn't reveal anything, Captain America deduces it did confirm one thing: whatever Strucker is up to won't be good for their side. That's where we go next, in the Himalayas with Baron Strucker leading a Hydra unit. They enter this remote lodge and request a guide to take them to this fabled city called Atilan. Now Atilan is the ancient and secret city of the Inhumans, and we're going to learn how they connect to the xenomorphs in this series. So for those of you who are unaware, the Inhumans are a hidden group of humans who were changed long ago when the alien Kree experimented on them. This gave them special DNA that can unlock superpowers, but only after they go through Terrigenesis, a process using Terrigen Mist. After transforming, each Inhuman gets unique abilities. Over time, they built an advanced and isolated society ruled by Black Bolt and Medusa. Now, Strucker's request for a guide to the locals here goes unanswered. The people just turn to look at him for a moment and then proceed to ignore him and go back to what they were doing. Strucker then says, "Perhaps I shall make my position clearer if I introduce myself. I am Baron Wolfgang von Strucker, High Commander of Hydra, and this was not a request." One of the locals confronts him, telling him to go and that they don't want any trouble. Strucker grabs this guy by the face and crushes his skull using his Crimson Gauntlet. He then grabs one of the women here and puts his gauntlet near her face while it crackles electricity, warning that he won't repeat himself. Finally, one of the locals volunteers. Later, they enter this cave, which is the entrance to Atilan. The guide explains that the locals regard those who reside in Atilan as gods and feared disturbing them, so that's why the locals were reluctant to take them here. Strucker's aide named Hans notices the ancient markings, explaining that they depict the Inhuman royal family, which legend says were one of the most powerful and revered Inhuman clans in history, that at some point mysteriously disappeared, and no one knows what happened to them. When Hans opens the sealed passageway into the city, Strucker shoots the guide right on the spot, because he can't have any loose ends. As they enter the passageway, the dying guide, coughing and smiling, says, "Good luck, fools. You wanted to see gods, but I took you to meet demons instead." Once they enter the city, Hans notices more hieroglyphics covering the walls. He explains that they show that the Inhuman rulers lived in peace for centuries, until an extraterrestrial plague annihilated them. That's when they see images of the xenomorphs covering the walls. When I initially read this, all I could think about is Rob from Comics Explained saying, of course they died to the xenomorphs because the Inhumans suck. I don't think there is a bigger Inhuman hater than Rob. Anyways, Strucker does wonder where are those creatures that killed them, and where are the Inhumans' riches and weapons? He presses the same symbol Hans pressed earlier to open the passageway to the city. This opens a door that leads Strucker's team to a massive chamber housing two sarcophagi, containing the skeletal remains of the Inhuman king and queen with both of their rib cages spread open. Strucker tells Hans to explain more of what the carvings say about the plague. Hans explains that they speak about an inhuman tradition of burying the dead with what killed them. He leads Strucker and the Hydra unit to a chamber filled with the xenomorph eggs. That burial tradition of the Inhumans Hans spoke of is something new. Besides royalty being buried in sacred chambers or underground, the Inhumans don't have an established universal burial tradition like the Wakandans and Asgardians do. Hans inspects the eggs, and they begin to open. You guys already know all hell is about to break loose. The facehugger leaps right out of the egg onto Hans' face, and then all the other facehuggers fly out of all the other eggs towards Strucker's team. The Hydra unit starts blasting them with their machine guns, but it doesn't stop the facehuggers. Most of Strucker's team gets taken by them. It's absolutely insane. It's mayhem. Strucker orders them to retreat, and just when one is about to land on him, he catches it and electrocutes it with his gauntlet. He and some of his men make it back to the entrance. A couple of the Hydra troops talk about how they survived, but won't be alive for much longer when Red Skull hears how they failed to uncover a weapon for the war. Strucker says, "Failed? On the contrary, gentlemen, the Skull will indeed have his weapon." He shows them the facehugger he killed. Weeks later, in occupied France, at this Hydra facility, Allied POWs are herded into this dark room. One of the POWs who jokes around is Dino Manelli. He's a part of the elite army unit, the Howling Commandoes, who we'll see in a second. Fun fact, his character is loosely based on actor Dean Martin. Dino and the other POWs are locked in the room with a bunch of the xenomorph eggs. One of them opens, and then out of freaking nowhere, one of the POWs gets torn apart. They all come face to face with a xenomorph queen. It gets confirmed for us that she was created by Hydra, because watching from a control room is Hydra's chief scientist, Arnim Zola, who mentions that this new queen may have to be restrained if she fails to obey. Appearing behind him is Red Skull, who says, "As long as she continues to produce eggs, Zola, and we continue to produce specimens for those eggs, then I can release my new alien army upon the world, and truly lay claim to this war in a way even the Fuhrer cannot. Hail Hydra!" Days later, we go to the Howling Commandos trudging through a forest, tracking Manelli. Now, the Howling Commandos are a US Army Special Operations unit led by Sergeant Nick Fury. They're known for taking on dangerous, high-risk, and dirty missions that others couldn't or wouldn't handle. The team soon makes it to a village where it's a straight-up horror scene. There are bodies scattered everywhere, with all of their rib cages burst open. They find a survivor who warns them that Hydra used the villagers as test subjects to breed les monstres, the monsters. She suddenly screams in agony, her chest tearing open as a chest burster emerges. Fury, shocked, tries reaching for his weapon, just as Captain America's shield flies through the air, slicing the chest burster in half. He then crushes its remains with his boot. Fury says, "I didn't need your help with that, and don't need stinking Captain America's help with this mission either." Captain America replies, "Well, to answer the first part, you fiddling with your gun says otherwise, Fury, so you're welcome. And as far as the second part, considering we may have a genuine War of the Worlds on our hands, Uncle Sam says otherwise." I can't wait for the second issue to drop because it's definitely going to be nuts. And we're only getting 4 issues for this series. That's the end of the video. Let me know your thoughts below. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. In the meantime, check out one of these videos right here. Other than that, have an awesome day, and always remember every day to go beyond.